Hello, my name is Jennifer Nielsen. I am the author of Rescue. This will be my new historical release coming out on March 2nd. I'm going to read a chapter to you today, but this is the story of Meg Kenyon, who lives in Nazi-occupied France. She has a couple of secrets. One is she has just discovered a British Air Force pilot hiding in her barn. He is injured, but he has brought along a secret code from her father. Now, if she's able to solve this code, as he hopes, it may result in the rescue of her father. But Maggie has another secret as well, a journal that she keeps detailing her involvement with the underground in France. It's all in code, but if someone were to decode it, they would know exactly what she is up to. Now, the Germans have heard that there might be a British officer in town, and so they are making a search of every home in the town. Well, now they have reached Meg's home. Chapter 14. Maman called to Grandmère a warning that the Nazis had arrived, then turned to me. "You must burn that note." "We can't," I protested. "Not until we know what it is. If it's found, they'll kill us. They'll find your father. I can hide it." My hands began shaking. "I promised to hide it, but we cannot destroy it." The car engine outside stopped. Maman looked back to the front door. We were out of time. She motioned for me to hurry upstairs. I started that way, then remembered the reason I had come down in the first place. My journal! Before Maman could ask, I raced to the door where my sweater was hung and dug into the pocket. Outside, I heard the crank of doors opening, then closing. I pulled out the journal and tossed it on the fire, though it slid off one log to the edge of the flames. "There's no time for that," Maman said. "Get into bed and keep that note hidden. Be safe, Maggie." A knock came to the front door as I raced up the stairs, undressing as I ran. In my room, I stuffed my clothes under my bed, then pulled on a nightdress. Maman still hadn't answered the door. Outside, the Germans began shouting, "Offene die Tür!" By their tone of voice, they were not making a request. It was a threat. "It's late," Maman responded in polite French. "What do you want?" "We are conducting searches." Then the German, doing the pounding, added, "We will break down the door if we must." By then I had slid into bed, but I wasn't finished. I needed to braid my hair, though it had nothing to do with vanity. I had a plan. Downstairs, Maman finally opened the door. "Search everywhere," the German commanded. I wasn't yet finished with my braid. My fingers twisted the strands as fast as I could, winding them around one another, trying to pull them tight enough that a strand wouldn't come loose and expose my secret. "Is there something you're looking for?" Maman asked. "Something I can help you find?" "Nein." I finished the last braid, folded Papa's note, and pushed it into my hair at the nape of my neck. I wound the braids into a bun, then felt around in the darkness for a pin to hold the hair in place. I found one, two. Then where was the third pin? I always kept several by my bed. I needed a third. "Search upstairs," the German ordered. The extra pins must have fallen to the floor when I cleaned out my room earlier, but footsteps were already pounding up the steps. I lay flat on my pillow, pulling up the blankets around me. There, I froze. A shadow blocked the light coming in from my door. One of the Germans must be right in my doorway. He whispered to someone with him, asleep. "Then let's search the other rooms first," came the reply. I waited for the shadow to leave, then waited again for the sound of searching in the room beside me. I let my right arm flop over the side of the bed, and there I felt around the floor until finally I found a pin. I was just beginning to pull my arm back up when the shadows returned. I had to let my arm dangle again, and the pin dropped back to the floor. This time, the shadows were accompanied by flashlights that beamed into every corner of my room, ending directly on my face. Then came the order, "Wake up! Schnell, schnell!" I didn't need to pretend to be frightened. I popped up, straight in bed, my eyes so wide the flashlight hurt them. I pulled the covers up around me and tried to lean closer to the wall. One of my braids was coming loose. If it fell, the note would fall with it. 2 soldiers began a search of my room, and surprisingly, they were polite about it. They didn't dump anything out or search as closely as I would have expected, which made me think they were looking for something bigger, such as a British spy, for example. One of them noticed my braid falling out of the bun. He crouched down on the floor beside me and looked at it. I had to force myself to look at him so that he wouldn't see the note. The soldier merely smiled and picked up the pin I had dropped. He gave it to me without a word, then gestured that I could use it in my hair. I nodded back and tried to put in the pin, but my hands were still shaking too much to fix it properly, so I knew it did me little good. When they had finished, they gave me a polite nod, then one of them said in French, "You may go back to sleep. Sorry to have disturbed you." They left the room, but downstairs the search continued. Through my window, I saw flashlights in the barn, and I desperately worried that I had made some mistake there. It would have been so easy to overlook something. From downstairs, a voice carried up to my room, one that put a heavy weight on my chest, making it hard to breathe. "Whose journal is this?" That was Lieutenant Becker speaking, the man I had followed earlier in town. "That is mine," Maman said. No, it was mine. But I was sure it must have burned by now. "I do not think this is yours, madame. This appears to be a child's writing." Maman didn't answer, so he continued, "I have a few questions for you, and for your mother and daughter as well." Maman answered, her voice as calm as Becker's was sharp. "My mother is an old woman with a failing memory. She won't remember enough to answer your questions. 10 minutes after you leave, she won't even remember you were ever here. And my daughter is young and needs her sleep. Perhaps you could speak to her tomorrow." "Perhaps we will," Lieutenant Becker said. "This is the last stop on our searches tonight. Would you be so kind as to put me and my men up for the rest of the night? That will give you and me plenty of time for all the questions I still have, and we would consider it a great service." I could almost hear my mother's heart pounding, or maybe that was mine, I didn't know, but I was terrified for me and my grandmother, for Captain Stewart, and especially for my mother, because she was probably hiding secrets far more dangerous than anything in my journal. And I had secrets of my own, secrets that could get all of us killed. I will hope you will check out Rescue, coming March 2nd. Thank you very much.